The war on drugs is a phrase and policy coined by President Richard Nixon in 1971, and by all accounts, this is a war America has already lost.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
Here the police are given a task to do that's an impossible task in enforcing these drug laws where nothing gets better, nothing improves, whether it's the violence generated from the drug trade, the corruption that comes from it, the amount of drugs that are on our streets.
I think we all realize, I know I certainly do, that the crimes that we should be focusing on that occur in our communities are the crimes that we're focusing on here in Baltimore, the homicides, the non-fatal shootings, the robberies.
I was arrested for marijuana possession. It was under about 2 grams of marijuana. And 5 years later, I was severely impacted by the collateral consequences of a drug arrest, which included me for the first time having to apply for food stamps, BGE assistance. So I wasn't able to take care of myself, although I was a well-educated, able-bodied adult.
Let's go back to the 1920s of alcohol prohibition. You see, that's the other time in our nation's history when homicides have been extremely high. During that 13-year period, we experienced an influx in homicides that we thought we'd never see again in history, until we started the war on drugs. When you have so much money to be made by selling something that's virtually worthless. I mean, we're talking about plant matter, whether you're talking marijuana, cocaine, opium, heroin. But because of the policies of prohibition, in many cases, it's now worth more than gold by weight. So yes, people are going to try to corner the market, whether it's the cartels, whether it's our neighborhood gangs and crews, and in doing so, they're going to end up fighting one another.
We do have challenges that are, I would say, are directly connected to, mass incarceration and larger policies of over-policing, and we're now dealing with the results of a large swath of people who are unemployable.
When we, the police, come in and clear out a place of real estate, a corner or two, that valuable real estate is going to be fought over by these crews and gangs to establish, to take control of that territory to sell their drugs.
My job is largely in part because of the war on drugs. About half of my cases are drug cases. Felony cases are still being handled in this, mass kind of war approach.
For a very long time, it was criminalized. You were caught with heroin, you go to jail. Now that the demographics of the heroin user-abuser has changed, there's a lot more empathy and emphasis on treatment as opposed to criminalization and mandatory minimums. Are you seeing this in your work, Todd?
Absolutely. The opioid epidemic has entered the lexicon because the crisis has entered white suburban communities.
Let me just say something, it's really not that simple. See, drug use and hardcore drug use has always been quite, popular in affluent America. Cocaine, heroin, all of it. The difference now is that people are dying.